Your life as the only daughter of the cartel's accountant, Part 2, The Legacy of Silence. This is the continuation of the story you already know. The unremarkable house, the basement door, the father who disappeared into the mountains. This is what happened next. You're 28 years old, and you've built something your father never could. A clean life. It exists in a city that isn't Mexico, Zurich, because Switzerland is where money goes to disappear, and you've spent your whole life learning how money disappears. The irony isn't lost on you. You live in an apartment with white walls and large windows and absolutely nothing hidden underneath. No basements, no keypad locks, no men with radios who call you young lady like it means something else. You work at a financial consulting firm. Legitimate clients, legitimate accounts, legitimate stress that ends at 6 p.m. and doesn't follow you home. Your colleagues know you're Mexican, good with numbers, private about your past. They assume you're running from a bad relationship or a controlling family. They're not wrong, they're just not right in the ways that matter. You've been here 4 years. 4 years of building something your father promised was possible, a life where you choose. But here's what they don't tell you about clean lives. They're lonely. Not in the obvious way. You have friends, colleagues, a man you've been seeing who sells medical equipment and has never checked an exit in his life. Lonely in the other way. The way where no one knows your real name, your real history, the real weight of the silence you carry. The way where you celebrate birthdays alone because celebrating with others means explaining why you don't have family photos, why you never mention your father, why you flinch when someone knocks too hard. You've learned to hide the flinching. You've learned to hide everything. But some things can't be hidden. Some things find you anyway. It arrives on a Tuesday. An envelope, no return address, your name typed, not handwritten. Inside, a single sheet of paper with a bank statement you've never seen. Your first instinct is fear. Someone found you. Someone knows. Someone's come to collect whatever debt they think you owe. Then you look at the numbers. The statement shows 5 transfers, small amounts, cents, really, the kind of rounding errors no one notices. But you notice. Because you were trained to notice. Because your father spent your childhood teaching you to see patterns where others saw randomness. Point 0.14, point 0.03, point 0.47, point 0.22, point 0.11. You stare at them for an hour. You write them down. You rearrange them. You try addition, subtraction, multiplication, nothing. Then you remember the game. How many oranges are in the bowl? Not just counting. Patterns, sequences, the way numbers connect to moments, to memories, to the invisible architecture of a life. Point 0.47, 3:47 a.m. Your birth time. Suddenly the sequence shifts. Point 0.14 becomes 2:14 p.m., the time your father first held you, your mother told you once, though you don't remember the story fully, just fragments of it, pieces of a life that feels like someone else's memory. Point 0.03 becomes 3 a.m., the time he'd come home those nights, the time you'd wake to footsteps on the stairs, the time you'd pretend to be asleep so he wouldn't worry. Point 2 becomes 10:22 p.m., the time of your last conversation before he disappeared, the time you told him you loved him and he said it back, the time that's played in your mind 1,000 times since. And point 11, 11 years old, the year you found the basement door and didn't open it, the year you chose ignorance over knowledge, safety over truth, the year you started becoming the person who could eventually walk away. The numbers aren't random, they're a message. They're your father's voice from wherever he's been for the last 4 years. They're telling you something. They're telling you he's still out there. You don't sleep that night. You sit at your window watching Zurich's orderly streets, thinking about chaos, about the house in Guadalajara, about the basement you never entered, about the father who taught you to see patterns and then disappeared into one. The streets below are empty. The streetlights click on and off at regular intervals. You count them without meaning to, 17 seconds between changes, the same pattern every time. Your father would appreciate that. He'd say even a city this orderly can't escape the mathematics of how things work. The question isn't whether you'll go back. The question is what you'll find when you do. 3 days later, he finds you. Not your father. The other one. The one from the ranch when you were 17. The one who hugged you like you were the only person who understood. The boss's son. He's waiting outside your apartment building. Older now, 32, 33, dressed in clothes that cost more than your monthly salary, but fit like he borrowed them from someone else. His eyes are the same, tired, seeing too much. He's leaning against a car that's too expensive for this neighborhood, and he's trying to look casual, but you can see the tension in his shoulders, the way his hands keep checking his pockets like he's making sure something's still there. You shouldn't be here, you say. I know. How did you find me? The same way you found the message. He almost smiles. Your father taught us both to see patterns. You think you're the only one who noticed those numbers? You stare at him. You sent the statement? No, but I know who did. And I know why. He glances around. The old habit, the inherited vigilance. Can we talk somewhere private? You should say no. Every instinct says no. This man is danger wrapped in an expensive suit, carrying a name that's killed more people than you'll ever know. His father ordered deaths. His father started wars. His father built an empire on suffering, and this man inherited every brick of it. But he knew your father. He might know what happened. He might know where he is. You invite him inside. His name is Alejandro. You learn this for the first time. At 17, you never asked. You were too busy surviving the encounter, too focused on being normal in a place where normal didn't exist. You remember him as the boy who understood, the one who saw the weight you were carrying because he carried the same weight. You never learned his name because names were dangerous. Names were things that could be used against you. He sits on your white couch like he's afraid to touch anything, like he's contaminating your clean life just by being in it. His hands rest on his knees, perfectly still, the kind of stillness that comes from years of learning not to fidget, not to draw attention, not to show weakness. The organization is falling apart, he says. Slowly, the way things fall when the person holding them together disappears. Your father. Dead, 2 years ago. The war with the Zetas finally caught up with him. He says it flatly, the way people say things they've accepted but never processed. I'm in charge now, which means I'm in charge of a mess your father left behind. My father didn't leave messes. He spent his whole life cleaning them up. Exactly. Alejandro leans forward. He built the architecture, the layers, the jurisdictions, the invisible money. When he disappeared, we thought the architecture would keep running. He trained the new accountant. He documented everything. He built systems that ran themselves. But they're not running. They're failing, slowly, in ways that don't make sense. What kind of ways? The kind where money goes missing. The kind where accounts don't close properly. The kind where we find messages hidden in the code. Messages we can't read, numbers we can't understand. He looks at you directly. Messages that look exactly like the one you received. You feel something cold settle in your chest. You think my father left them? I think your father knew he was going to disappear. I think he built something into the architecture, something only you can access. And I think the new accountant is too afraid to admit he doesn't understand it. So you came to me. I came to ask for your help. He pauses. And to warn you. Warn me about what? The new accountant. He's not like your father. He's not careful, not meticulous, not brilliant. He's scared, and scared men make mistakes. He's been digging through your father's files, trying to find the things he doesn't understand. If he finds the connection to you, if he figures out that the architecture was built around protecting you, he'll come for me. He'll come for you, not to hurt you, to use you, to make you open the doors he can't open himself. Alejandro stands. I'm not asking you to save the organization. I don't care about the organization. I'm asking you to save whatever your father left behind. Because if the new accountant finds it first, he'll destroy it, and whatever truth your father was trying to protect will die with it. You have a choice. Stay in Zurich. Keep your clean life. Ignore the message. Ignore the danger. Ignore the ghost of a father who's been reaching out from somewhere you can't see. Or go back. Go back to Mexico. Go back to the house. Go back to the basement you never entered at 11 years old. The basement that's been waiting for you ever since. You think about your father's voice. Choose wisely, mija. You think about the numbers. Point 47. 3:47 a.m. The moment you came into the world he spent his whole life trying to protect. You think about your mother, alone in that hospital, holding a phone while you were too far away to help. You think about the life you've built, the walls you've constructed, the silence you've learned to call freedom. You book a flight to Guadalajara. The house hasn't changed. 4 years empty, and it looks exactly the same. Beige stucco, wrought iron. A garden that's grown wild but still remembers its shape. The roses your mother planted are still there, overgrown but alive, blooming in colors that seem almost defiant. You stand on the sidewalk, heart pounding, remembering the last time you were here, the night your mother left, the night everything started cracking. A neighbor walks past with a dog. She doesn't recognize you. Why would she? You were a child when you lived here, and children become strangers when they leave. You have the key. You've always had the key. You just never used it. The door opens the same way, a slight stick in the lock, the way it always had, the way your father never fixed because he said it added character. The hallway looks the same. The kitchen looks the same. And there, in the corner, the door you've spent your whole life not opening. The basement door. You descend the stairs slowly, counting without meaning to. 12 steps. You remember that from childhood. 12 steps down to a place you were never allowed to go. 12 steps separating the life you could see from the life you couldn't. The keypad lock is still there, still waiting. A small red light blinks patiently, like it's been blinking for 4 years, knowing you'd eventually come. You try combinations, your father's birthday, your mother's birthday, your own. The date he disappeared. Nothing works. The red light blinks twice for each wrong attempt. Denial, denial, denial. Then you remember the numbers, the message. Point 14, point 03, point 47, point 22, point 11. Not a sequence, a code, a pattern. You type them in order, ignoring the decimals, treating them as a single number. 14, 03, 47, 22, 11. The lock clicks open. The red light turns green. The basement is larger than you imagined. Not the cramped space you pictured as a child. A proper room, finished, with computers and filing cabinets and walls covered in papers. A desk in the center, a chair pushed in neatly. Your father's chair. You can almost see him sitting there, surrounded by his numbers, building his invisible architecture. And on the desk, waiting like it's been waiting for years, a safe deposit box. Small, metal, the kind that holds things too important to lose. It's the only thing in the room that looks out of place. Too personal, too deliberate, too much like a message. There's a key taped to the bottom of the desk drawer. You find it by instinct, the way your father taught you to look, to check the places that seem too obvious to check. You open the box with shaking hands. Inside, a notebook. Your father's handwriting. You'd recognize it anywhere. The careful curves, the way his numbers looked like art, the way he crossed his sevens because he said it made them harder to forge. And on the first page, a single line. If you're reading this, Mija, you finally opened the basement door. I knew you would. I just didn't know when. There are things I need to tell you, things I couldn't say before, things that will change everything you think you know about me, about us, about the life I built. But first, you need to understand something. I didn't disappear. I chose to disappear. Because staying would have meant watching them use you the way they used me. Because the only way to protect you was to become someone they couldn't find, couldn't threaten, couldn't use against you. I'm still out here, watching, waiting, making sure you're safe. And now that you've found this, now that you've opened the door, you have another choice. You can close the box, go back to Zurich, and never think about any of this again. The architecture will protect you. The money will stay clean. You'll be free in all the ways that matter. Or you can keep reading. You can learn the truth. You can find me. But if you find me, you can't unfind me. You can't go back to the clean life. You'll know everything. The good, the bad, the parts I've never told anyone. Choose wisely, Mija. I love you. I always have. And whatever you choose, I'll respect it. But if you choose to find me, turn to page 47. You sit in the basement for a long time. The notebook in your hands. The weight of 4 years of not knowing. The weight of a lifetime of questions that finally have answers waiting just a page away. You look around the room, at the computers, dark and silent, at the filing cabinets, each drawer labeled in your father's handwriting, dates, codes, references you don't understand, at the walls, covered in maps and diagrams and photographs of buildings you've never seen. This was his world. This was where he spent the hours he wasn't with you. This was the architecture. You think about Zurich, about the white apartment, the clean life, the man who sells medical equipment and has never checked an exit. You think about freedom, real freedom, the kind your father died to give you. Except he didn't die. He's out there, waiting. You think about the numbers. Point 47. 3:47 a.m. The moment you were born, the moment everything started. You turn to page 47. The handwriting changes here. Tighter, more urgent. The pen pressed harder into the paper, leaving grooves you can feel with your fingertips. You're still reading? Good. That means you're brave enough for the truth. I wasn't just an accountant, I was an architect. I built systems that moved billions, yes, but I also built something else. Something only you can understand. Every layer of the architecture contains a fail-safe, a door only you can open, a way to collapse everything if you ever need to. I built it because I knew that someday someone might try to use you the way they used me, and I wanted you to have power, real power, when that day came. The new accountant doesn't know about the fail-safes. Neither does Alejandro, for all his good intentions. Neither does anyone except you and me. There are 12 of them. 12 doors hidden in the architecture. Each one corresponds to a different part of the organization. The money, the connections, the people, the protection. If you open all 12, everything collapses. Every account freezes. Every structure dissolves. Every secret becomes public. But there's something else. Something I couldn't put in writing until I knew you were ready. I know who killed your mother. You stop breathing. The basement goes cold. The words blur in front of you, then sharpen again, then blur. You read them again, and again, and again. I know who killed your mother. Your mother died 3 years ago. Cancer, they said. Quick, they said. Peaceful, they said. You were in Zurich by then, couldn't make it back in time, held the phone while she faded in a hospital room you never saw. You remember her voice at the end, thin, tired, but still her. Still the woman who raised you, who protected you, who chose to stay in that house long after she should have left. But your father's handwriting doesn't lie. It wasn't cancer. It was them, the organization. They found out she knew too much about the architecture, about the fail-safes, about the ways I'd protected you. They couldn't kill me because I was already gone, so they killed her instead. Made it look natural, made it look like the body just gave out. I couldn't tell you then. You weren't ready. You were still building your clean life, still healing, still becoming the woman I needed you to be. But now you're ready. Now you have the notebook. Now you have the fail-safes. Now you have power. The question is, what will you do with it? There's a list on page 82. Names, dates, the people who made the decision, the people who carried it out, the people who covered it up. Every single person who had a hand in taking your mother from you. You can use the fail-safes to destroy them all. Not just the individuals, the whole system that created them. You can bring down an empire with nothing but numbers and the knowledge I gave you. Or you can walk away, close the notebook, leave the basement, go back to Zurich, and never look back. The fail-safes will stay hidden. The list will stay secret. You'll be free. I won't judge you either way. I spent my whole life trying to give you choices. This is the biggest one. But if you choose to destroy them, if you choose to use what I built, there's one more thing you need to know. I'm not dead. I'm in a small town in the mountains, the one I told you about before I disappeared. I've been here the whole time, watching, waiting for you to find the notebook. If you use the fail-safes, come find me. We'll have a lot to talk about. If you walk away, I'll understand. I'll stay here, alone, knowing you're safe. That's enough. Choose wisely, Mija. I love you. I always have. I always will. You close the notebook. Your hands are shaking. Your heart is pounding. Your mother's face floats in your memory. The way she looked the last time you saw her, standing in this kitchen, telling you she was proud of you, telling you to go build your life, telling you she'd be fine. She wasn't fine. She was never fine. She was carrying a secret that got her killed. You think about the list on page 82, names you could learn, faces you could find, people who smiled at your mother, who shook her hand, who pretended to be friends while they were planning her death. You think about the fail-safes, 12 doors, 12 chances to destroy everything they built, to make them pay, to turn their own architecture into their grave. You think about your father, alone in a mountain town, waiting to see which daughter shows up, the one who walks away or the one who fights. The basement is silent. The house above is silent. But somewhere in the mountains, in a small town you've never seen, your father is waiting. You have power now, real power, the kind that can destroy empires or walk away from them, the kind that comes from knowing the architecture, understanding the numbers, being the only person who can open the doors he built. You think about your mother, about the clean life in Zurich, about Alejandro upstairs, waiting for an answer he won't like, about the new accountant, digging through files he'll never understand. You think about the numbers, .47, 3:47 a.m., the moment you were born, The moment everything started, you open the notebook to page 82. The names are there, 12 of them. Some you recognize. Lieutenants who visited the house, men who smiled at you at parties, women who brought casseroles when your mother was sick. Others you don't. But the dates are there, the methods, the orders, the whole terrible machinery of what they did. You read each name slowly, you memorize them, you let yourself feel the weight of what they took from you. Then you turn back to page 47, to your father's instructions, to the fail-safes, 12 doors, 12 chances. You start with the first one. You're the accountant's daughter. You were raised to see patterns, to understand power, to make choices. Now you've made yours. To be continued.